technology has changed so much. And I reflect on our organisation. As I say, Digital Birmingham started in 2006. And for those that you don't know, we are part of Birmingham City Council, and I think it's important to note that, because City Council has a budget of £3 billion. It's a huge organisation, and you know, the austerity measures have been mentioned, and I think we're having cuts in our budget as everybody expects, but despite those cuts, it's still a huge organisation. And you may wonder, what can local authorities do to support businesses out there? And for the city, the size of Birmingham, economic growth and prosperity and the growth of SMEs are probably identified as the biggest priority that we have at the moment. We see falls in growth in some of the big sectors, manufacturing, although you know, Longbridge has grown a little bit longer, but the growth we see coming from for the future is around SMEs and how we can support those. So what is the role of organisations like the City Council? Well, I think we have a very important role to play, but it's an enabling role. We don't create new applications, we aren't an IT company, so we can't bring new technology to you, but what we can do is create those conditions for you to support you. And some of the things that we are doing is three things, and when I started our program back in 2000, we said there were three things, 3 C's: connectivity, content, and capabilities. And despite all these years, I think those 3 things are still very relevant today. One of the big things that we can do is provide capacity and capability. And by that, what I mean is enabling us to create that infrastructure that will support the SME sector. And many of you may have heard about the programs that we have about connectivity. Our Digital Districts program, which is looking at bringing fibre to the enterprise zone in Birmingham, which will deliver speeds of 100 megabits minimum to SMEs who will be able to afford those at cheap prices, so they can create new applications, so they can create new innovations at a price that's affordable. We've seen that in the marketplace, connectivity is the differential. It isn't about anything else. That physical environment is important, but connectivity, that virtual connectivity, is the one that gives you that connection to the global world, and that's what we were trying to push. We've also noticed and seen, and certainly through what Keith has said about the growth of mobile data and the use of mobile technologies, both from a citizen's perspective, but also from a business perspective. So we've been quite brave. We launched a process to try and accelerate 4G and next generation type of wireless capabilities in the city. That's quite an ambitious program. What we're trying to do is recognise that people are mobile, staff are mobile, and we need to make sure that you have the tools that enable you to access data, information at any time, any place within the whole city. And that's a program, that activity that we're launching, and hopefully early next year we'll be able to announce a deal that the city has done around providing that ubiquitous connection, mobile connections across the city. The other thing that we're trying to do is look at how we can have the backbone to support organisations, SMEs, data centres, and making sure that that capacity does exist, that processing power exists. And one of the things that we are exploring is ensuring that we have an internet exchange in Birmingham. I mean, if you look at Manchester, Leeds, London, they all have internet exchanges that give the capacity and the cheaper costs for organisations to compete and work across the globe easily and faster than we have. Emails sent from here will go across the wall and go back to my colleague next door, which is ridiculous. We need to have that breakout right into the internet. If that's the tool that enables us to make a differential in the world, those are tools that we're trying to support. So from the infrastructure side, so the built environment, those are the type of things that the city can support. But 2 or 3 of the speakers talked about something that's really important, and that's about data. The City Council has a massive amount of data, more data than we know what to do with. And for us, we need to find ways of making sure that information is available to you as SMEs so you can create the new applications. Gone are the days when the city used to invest in monolithic systems, huge databases where we created all the applications, we created the process, and we brought in big organisations to actually deliver those things. We have been through a business transformation process. I think 5 years ago we started with a £500 million investment to transform our services, and we brought the big organisations and we changed that processes. But what we realised, that isn't the future. Our future is SMEs, And what we're trying to do is through the whole open data process and agenda, we're trying to make sure that as part of our processes, we are making that data available to you. But not just our data, the data of the organisations that we work in, our partner organisations. So as part of the procurement processes, we will ensure that data is captured and made available so you can innovate, so you can create the applications and services that clearly, as time goes on, the City Council will not be able to deliver moving forward. So that's a real opportunity, and we're working, and we want to work with the SME sector really to understand what are your needs, what do you need from the city, how can we make that process easier for you so we can actually create that environment. That ecosystem is what we're trying to create, an ecosystem that enables both the corporates, but as the SME sectors to work together. So there is a supply chain. Corporates can afford big money tickets, but the SMEs can. We want you to be part of that process, part of the partnership that works with the city. We've also looked at other things that we're doing, and some of the things that we want to actively encourage is investment into the city and the knowledge to share that information and bring in the opportunities for SMEs. So there are a number of organisations that have been set up in the city to specifically support yourselves. So things like Innovation Birmingham, Business Birmingham, and Finance Birmingham. These are organisations that are part of the city that will support through finance, will provide funds and grants to enable you to get access to training, and please apply for those funds when they become available, because that's a real opportunity as money dries up moving forward. And also events like this. I mean, Digital Birmingham tries to support events like this, and we've also brought in the Young Rewide State last year, and hopefully we'll bring it again this year to Birmingham, because that creates the opportunity. It shows how young people are part of our society and can make a difference in terms of how they move forward. So those are the type of things we're doing. The city itself has gone through a transformational change as well, as you can imagine. More and more services have been outsourced or they'll be commissioned. So there is a real opportunity for SMEs and social enterprises and smaller organisations to be part of that family that delivers services in a different way. And that's the environment that we want to try and create. We've learned our lessons with social media. Social media is a very important tool. And like many big organisations, we don't use it very well. We are learning how to use it more appropriately, and we are learning our lessons. Consultation is probably one of the big lessons that we're going to learn. Asking citizens what they need and what they want is always dangerous. I mean, I don't know if any people watch X Factor. There's an example of giving people choice, and it could potentially go wrong for the organisers. But the City Council is listening to those things, and we are using social media appropriately. So this is really me from Digital Birmingham saying the city is open, the city wants to be a digital test bed. It wants to be that living lab that enables the opportunity and create that environment that enables SMEs to try new things, to try new experimentation, and make sure that Birmingham is ahead of the game when it comes to being smart and understanding how technology plays a role in its future. Thank you.